What's going on, guys? We're talking about the Arnold and the big news for the lineup, and that is Big Ramy himself is now in. And I am super excited to hear about it because I have been begging and hoping all these guys would jump in. And ever since we started talking about it, we had Nick jump in, Andrew jump in, Patrick Moore's jumped in, and now we have Ramy jump in. And it's almost like we have a mini Olympia, and it's time for redemption. And it's not only redemption for Ramy, but it's redemption for Andrew Jack. And these guys have a chance now to jump ahead. But, you know, a lot of people are saying it's stupid for Ramy to do this because his problems are bigger than just a peak, but I don't necessarily agree. So Ramy has some serious issues, obviously, that need to be taken care of. He is seeing my doctor in Dubai for some stem cell work and some disc regeneration issues that I've heard about. But so we see that the back is not what it was going all the way back to 2015, 2014. And the triceps now are kind of a little bit smaller. The stomach, he had a little bit of issue posing during the Olympia. So there is some issues that are structural or not easily taken care of. But I will also argue that if you're not peaked properly, then those issues are going to be dramatically exasperated. Like they're going to show much more than they would be if you were peaked 100%. Now, was he shredded? Yeah, glutes were in. He looked hard. Everything was there. But could he have been fuller? Possibly. And I think that would make a big difference. If he's fuller in the same condition or even a little bit better, maybe things are a little different. And I think even if they're not, everybody wants to see Nick stand next to Big Ramy again. Everybody wants to see Samson stand next to Big Ramy again. After all, regardless of how you look at it, he is a 3-time Mr. Olympia. And I think he is still the biggest guy in bodybuilding. And it is still going to be exciting to see because now we have 3 big men. We got Ramy in there, we got Samson in there, and we have Andrew Jack in there. And the 3 of them, you know, then you have like the shorter, more compact guys with Sean Clarita, Nick Walker, and William Bonac. So you have a little bit of a trade-off here between 2 different styles of physiques. And I think Ramy makes this show much more exciting. And I think this to me is a stock play. It's a couple different things. One, I think he has a new supplement company called Red Rex. And I think that supplement company needs a push. He probably didn't do as well as he wanted to at the Olympia, obviously. Taking 6th, didn't win. Winning was probably what he wanted. He took 6th, and that obviously is not good for business. So maybe this is a redemption play. Maybe it's a business play all at the same time. He's like, you know what, I come back. Maybe I beat Nick. It brings my stock up. And then next thing you know, my supplement company's back on the map. So it's could have a couple different facets to it. And I think the business one is probably a big part. Now, secondly, obviously the Arnold raising the money to $300,000. It's a big deal. I mean, Ramy took 6th at the, or 5th, sorry, I keep saying 6th. Ramy took 5th at the Olympia, and I don't know, I think that was 10 grand or 20 grand or something like that. So he lost out on that big purse he's used to at the Olympia, which is 400 grand. So now he's coming back to the Arnold, and he has a chance to get back some of that money potentially if he can beat Nick, who is probably the favorite going into the show. So there's the money aspect. And then I think there's just a competitive personal aspect of saying, look, I'm better than I was at the Olympia. Yes, I'm sure he knows he has structural flaws. I'm sure he sees that his arms maybe not what they were 5 years ago, or his back is not what it was 5 years ago. I'm sure he sees these things. So this is a chance for him to say, look, I know I got issues, but I promise you I wasn't at my best, and I'm going to come in better. And I think that's an important thing for a guy as a competitor, as like, put aside all of the financial things, all the business things, all of that, just on a strictly competitive basis, on a personal manhood basis. He's probably like, you know what? It hurt to get 5th after winning. And I want to show that I can still stand with the best and I can still be the best. And I think that's a big deal for Ramy. And I think it would be a big deal for any competitor. So for him to be able to get back is a big thing for him. And I think it's a big thing for the show. This really elevates the show back up to where it was and its prestige that we're known for at the Arnold. So let's take a look at Ramy's physique just to go through what he's got to do and what could be better. So this is him at the 22 Olympia. So what I noticed when I was sitting in the stage is this is good. Like, I know people go on about his legs and these divots in his legs. Yes, they are distracting, but the overall sweep of the leg is still there, so that's pretty good. He was a little bit washed out through the stomach. In the triceps, even though they were down, didn't hurt him too bad in this front shot. It was more of like his posing issue, because he would do this and then he would crunch down into this shot. And I didn't feel like this helped him at all. I actually feel like it hurt him. I wasn't sure why he was doing this. I think he should have just stayed in that vacuum pose, which looks really good on him. This just makes him look wider across the waist. It brings in his lats a little bit and makes him look more rectangular. And then obviously tilts his arms and shoulders forward, which just kind of looks awkward. So, and then while you're doing that, you're losing some of the detail in the rectus femoris here in the quad. So I feel like it's unnecessary to go to the second part of the front double. As we go through the poses, you start to see that front lat spread. Now, one of the things that hurt him here, one, the stomach is washed out, but two, you see the triceps here. It doesn't look like much because in the front lat spread, you're looking at, the width of the shoulders, the cap of the delt, the lats from behind, how they're flaring and framing the body. And his legs obviously look great. They're detailed, separated, but the arms are dramatically smaller than they were a few years ago. Even last year, I think they were bigger. So you're missing that extra pop that comes right here. And it does add another dimension to the physique. Even though it's such a small muscle, it adds something to the pose. So I think he's missing that there. You can start to see, okay, the arms look different. And then he keeps doing these combination poses where he's doing a shot and then switching shots. And I don't feel like it's working out for him, because yes, you're showing your waist, but he's making himself look smaller now. He's rolling his shoulders forward. You can see the triceps even worse now. And every time he does it, he loses a definition in his quad, and it's just not necessary. I feel like it almost looks like you're unsure of yourself. That's the finished pose. I think that's the pose that should have been there from the very beginning, and he should have just held that. But moving around, I mean, you can see his confidence is there. He feels like he looks good. But again, in the side shots, this is Ramy's big shot, right? Like, everybody loves the side chest on Ramy. And when he turns, the leg looks incredible, but the arm is lacking something. And that's where these little things change. See that shot there? As he straightens out his arm, this is all straight. And that changes the way you see a physique, even though it's such a small thing. Because you say, well, look at his leg and look at his ab and look at his chest. And yes, that's all great. But you start to, all these little dimensions add up when you're standing next to the best in the world. So he's going to round into a side tricep here. Side tricep looks pretty good. He's able to hide that tricep issue there by not flexing all the way down on the tricep from the back. Glutes are hard. Hamstrings are separated. All that looks pretty good. And then we get to the back, and he's really missing that back centerpiece of his physique, the erectors and the bottom part of the lat there, which is an issue. And I don't think, obviously, nobody thinks it's going to be corrected by the Arnold. But what I was trying to say is, if this is partially a peaking issue, then these problems he's having with his tricep and his back may not look as bad. Because if you guys remember back, if you look back to the 20 and 21, I said he won 3 Olympias, I apologize. If you look back to the 20 and 21 Olympias, he has that back issue. You can still see it. You see that the lats are kind of missing. And it's really like, you have to go back to 2014, 15 to see that the back is fully there. So he can still win with that issue. He just has to be peaked properly. And I think that's the difference between this year and last year. I still think he can do well. I think the arms are a little bit worse this year than they've been in the past. I think that actually hurt him a little bit more. And I think the way he was posing seemed very uncertain and not crisp. It was like, I'm doing this shot, now I'm doing this shot, and I'm not really committing to a shot and showing you my best. And I think that was a problem for him at the Olympia too, because as I was watching, I was like, why doesn't he just get set into the best shot and show the judges your best shot? So regardless of all the faults, regardless of how good or bad he is, this is going to make the Arnold more exciting regardless, because whatever you think of Ramy, it doesn't really matter. He was 5th at the Olympia, which is 2 spots behind Nick. So in this lineup, it would stand to reason that he would be 2nd. So if he's 2nd and he's got 1 hurdle to overcome, it's going to be exciting to see him next to Nick, see if he can get that redemption. And then also, I think this is exciting for someone like Andrew Jack and for Samson, 2 other big guys that were basically beat by Ramy on condition. And if either one of these guys can bring it together and put it together, especially Andrew now working with Chris Aceto, we might see a different Andrew. And if they can bring it together and put it together, they could potentially pull ahead of Ramy if this isn't a peaking issue and if he still looks the same. So thank you, Ramy, for making the Arnold even more exciting. We are all looking forward to it. I'll be doing the commentary, and it's going to be great, man. That first call out is going to be nuts. And even though we have guys who have placed a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, they weren't all that far apart. So it's going to be exciting to see them stand next to each other again. Guys, until next time, check out HOSSTILE.com. These will be live on the site probably in a couple weeks. So we have the HOSSTILE shield on the collar. We have the HOSSTILE logo or word mark across the chest. And we're going to have a few different colors. They fit awesome. They're super comfortable, good for wintertime. And you can wear them out because they're kind of casual. There's nothing really flashy on them. But check out the HOSSTILE.com website for all the new stuff we have coming out, and check back for the next new video. Thanks for watching.